All right, thank you for staying with the Monday Report Town Hall session. We're getting into the final session where we talk about the questions that you have and also the solutions that are coming through. We have Jeff Awiti on Twitter, says more training needs to be done in our schools when it comes to safety. These are what it entails, life skills programs. We don't leave a name on 22422. You say principals should take the highest responsibility. The chair cannot just tell Kenyans that principals are powerless. The principal manages the school. Security and safety of our children lies squarely with the principal. Board makes policy and principal implements. Board is not involved on daily management and operation of the school. From Kisii County, you say it is true that principals run the show. BOM have no say. Teachers who try to make any observation are transferred to schools far away with the consent of the BOM. I am a victim of this. If I am allowed, I can actually narrate it. All right. You also don't leave a Kaka Frank. You say, Trevor, the balance should be between the security and performance. The school principal should be careful enough not to expose pupils to danger that could be prevented. Kakamega was an unfortunate, but in the first place, that building should not have been done in that format. Education system should consider security training. That's from Kaka Frank. We have questions there. Start with your name and then ask the question.
Hi, my name is Kavana. Mr. Muli, I have several questions for you. 3. So first of all, taking it back to the beginning, you said that in the report there was a focus on infrastructure. Now, if there was a focus on infrastructure, and that shouldn't have been the sole focus, was it questioned? And if it wasn't, why was it not questioned? Why was nothing said? Why was nothing done? Because you are grown people with agency and autonomy. So if you see a problem, isn't it then your place to be like, okay, focus on infrastructure, lakini tunahitaji hivi. Next, when you said that the head teacher had no power, for me that seems very passive and also not true. The man has autonomy as an individual and also agency. If he sees a problem, if he's hired to the school and he sees a problem, even if it leads to him being fired, afadhali aseme kuna shida na asaidie our watoto kwa sababu safety should be first. Now, 3rd, you gave the example of if the building fell, right? What would be the first priority? So the first priority, yes, is to help us, definitely. But coming into Citizen, there's processes in place to record who we are and our identification. When you come through the gate, you give your ID and you give your name, right? So if this building was to fall, they would know exactly who's in here, right? And that means they would have the information and be able to find out more information and who to call. So that means they're organized and they know what to do when something bad happens. Now, if, for example, a class falls down, the school, the principal should know who's in that classroom, what class is happening at that moment, who's teaching, and then go to the register, which is supposed to be the accumulation of information about the children, and then go to the next of kin. To say one should happen and then the other is not fair. Yes, the children need to be helped. That's the first thing. But to say the parents must wait is not a fair thing to say. All right. I don't agree with that.
I'll take 1 or 2 more questions. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening.
Yeah.
I'm Winyambuhu Dixon. I'm a tutor. It's just a contribution. It's not a question.
Yes.
If there's a person who is most protected in this country is a child, and is not protected only by the teacher, the head teacher. All of us, we are cascading him and we are pushing him to the wall. But a child is protected by 6 people in a day. The first person who is protecting the child is the person in charge in the classroom. From the classroom, we have the class teacher. If the class teacher cannot handle the case, or if anything happens, there's the duty teacher. From the duty teacher, you will go to the senior teacher. From the senior teacher, go to the deputy, then back to him. So if all these 6 people cannot have an idea of protecting a child, then there's not a problem with the school, with the teaching staff. The problem is with Kenyans ourselves. The problem we have as Kenyans, if it never happens to me, it never happened.
Okay.
The good example is if a lorry fell here with the oil. All of us, we have been taught it's dangerous for us to go and fetch what? That oil. But I know the spirit that is in us will always go there. It should start, first of all, the first objective of education should be created for survival of human being as a human being. That should be the first objective of education in Kenya.
Okay.
Meaning that we should be taught immediately there's a problem in us. How can you survive in your environment? The syllabus writers and creators, they have left that thing out. As much as we'll be talking about these sessional papers, the laws and whatever, and it is not being taught in the classroom, I think we are going to have a problem, because it should be put to be part of the syllabus so that it is taught from the beginning until we finish the school. So what I'd like to say, everybody should be concerned. The syllabus creator should go back to the drawing board. They should put that one in the syllabus.
Yeah.
2, then the human natural survival instinct we should be created in us.
All right, pass the microphone to them, and those are the last comments I'm taking very briefly.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Purity Nyumo, student from the University of Nairobi. I have a question to the chairman of the principals in Kenya. I heard you defend yourself when the lawyer was saying that, like you gave an example of saying as a principal, if you are sent in a certain school, like an example of Kakamega Primary School, you cannot say you are not going there because the population or the number of the people is too large for you, and you have to go there. That is to mean like you are forced to go there because of work. One thing I want to say is that if you are as a principal, you see the danger. Me, I am in the scenario of a parent. If I'm a parent, I don't know the danger where I'm taking my pupil in a school whereby it is overcrowded. These parents don't have such an information. You are the guys who are supposed to help the parents to know there is a danger when the school is overcrowded. Okay. And again, you are the guys who can help even the teachers to know the safety measures and help the children. So when you are saying that you're not the people responsible, that is not the truth of the matter. The principal, the head teachers, the people who are supposed to help us in this scenario.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Pass the microphone very briefly.
Thank
30
you.
seconds and then
I'm
30
Kevin
seconds
Orangi,
for you. Yes.
Student at University of Nairobi. You know, education has got stakeholders.
Yeah.
We talk of parents, then teachers, and kuna education, and the government. So those are the three guys who are supposed to be in charge of the education system.
Yeah.
So as long as you have taken your kid to a given school, you should also be aware of what is that school. Okay. Because nowadays you can as well start my school because that is a business. So in that way, we should also know what the government to know which school is this and give it the correct number.
All right.
Yes.
Great. 30 seconds.
Kwa majina naitwa Bernard Ono, mimi ni mzazi. Wakati wakubwa wetu wanaongea hivi pia tunakuwa na uoga kama wazazi. Sababu ukianza kuchenga nyumba kama ulikuwa mmoja, ukiwa wengi unachenga hiyo nyumba, unaitengeneza ikuwe kubwa ya kuwezesha watu wengine wakae ndani. Kama shule ukiendelea kuenroll watoto wengi, inastahili hiyo shule pia uipanue kama principal. Kitu kingine mheshimiwa amesema hii kitu ikianguka tutakuwa na yani hakuna mtu atakuwa na ile hali ya kupigia watu wengine simu, ni kungangana kuokoa. Tukiwa shule tukisema hivyo, hiyo inamaanisha sisi wote tutakufia kwa hiyo shule. Natakana tufunze mtu mwingine ule wa kando mwenye atakuwa na ile akona nguvu ama hana ile uoga hii kitu imeanguka. At least alipoti wazazi ama alipoti mali inatakikana.
Sawa. Okay. Indimuli, I'll start with you, closing comments. So what is the way forward? Because I see here, Muridi from Voi says schools should have CCTV cameras to enhance security and safety of learners. The role of teachers on duty should be well defined and revisited. As you respond to the questions and your final remarks as well.
I may not want to respond to the questions as they have been put, because that will appear defensive. I don't want to appear defensive here. But I want people to understand me on behalf of other principals. When we say that when a building collapses, we are working on saving lives, and we will not be very fast in fast ringing the parents, it does not mean we do not have data, we do not know those who are in that class or dormitory at that time. Definitely, schools have records, and we will know the people. But after saving, we will take audit of those who are in class, how many have survived and how many are injured, where have they been taken, so that when you start communicating, you are communicating information that is correct. Two, we are not saying we are powerless, that when you are posted to a school that has more students, then you are just going there because it is work. First, you've been sent to work. You are employed to work. So when you are sent to that school, you will definitely do the work with the numbers of students that are there. Any observation that you notice, there are channels in which we give our information. We have talked as much as Kenya Secondary School Heads Association that with the increased number of students in schools, our infrastructure needs to be expanded. I will prepare my blueprint for expansion, but I'll need support. The support must come from all the stakeholders, the parents, the government, well-wishers around the school. That is the support we are calling for. So as a principal, I cannot expand the infrastructure on my own. I will need support.
Okay.
And we are cognizant of the fact that numbers are there, numbers are challenging, and we have said as much that we need to expand. Number 3, what do we need to do? What we need to do as schools is we must take audit, the security audit of our institutions. I've done it for our school. Other principals have done it. The security audit will give us the gaps that are related to that particular institution. Where do you need to improve? What do you need to do? After it has identified the gaps, then the Board of Management will be given this report. Where it requires finances, it is the responsibility of Board of Management to look for the funds, to request for funds or request for support in this. So, number 1, security audit must be taken. Number 2, we must revisit our manual to make it more user-friendly, to make it simpler, that can easily be referenced. Number 3, we have to give powers to institutions within the Ministry of Education that are charged with the responsibilities of doing quality assurance, so that they do not only quality assure how we deliver content, but they also quality assure on the structures that we are putting up and the safety of the students.
Someone is asking here, have you ever received a safety proposal to act on as the national chair and you have acted upon it? Have you ever refused to act on a safety proposal as the national chair?
I've never refused to act on a safety proposal that is given. Yeah, once it is given, we bring it up for discussion. For example, we have engaged various people. When we had even challenges of terror, we worked with the Ministry of Interior, Counter-Terrorism Department, I think, that came and did workshops. Even today, their personnel who are in Mombasa talking to principals of Tarakaniti on the same. So as Kenya Secondary School Heads Association, we know the gaps and we try to engage with those who are knowledgeable. Where it becomes financial intensive, that is where we face the challenge. The 4th area I was going to say, briefly. I've talked about quality assurance. The 4th area, we must, as a nation, bring in the interdisciplinary support with ministries that are concerned with the safety and health to come together so that they can give the proper training to the teachers. These teachers out there, the type of training they receive, pre-service training, may not include what we are now demanding from them. And that is why with the new curriculum coming, there are those aspects that are being brought into the pre-service training of teachers, so that what was seen as a gap in the past may be addressed with this.
Just very briefly, final remarks. Yes.
Trevor, the Ministry of Education and all other stakeholders, particularly principals, must implement the safety manual. We cannot review something we've not attempted to implement. Number 2, I think Teacher Service Commission has to post more teachers to schools. The example of 70 teachers against 3,000 students does not work. And TSC has brought so many requirements to teachers. Oh, we need TPAD this way, we need TCAD the other way. Teachers have no time to even concentrate on the security of students. And 3, the principals must just be responsible. Ultimately, the buck stops with them. Kenya High, for example, received 70 million 2 days ago. Kakamega High School, 15 million. Every secondary school has received money for infrastructural development. When we go to Kenya High, we must be able to see the 70 million in terms of infrastructure. Same to Wayakahi schools, Wahi teachers, same to all schools. Otherwise, you'll get a school getting 15 million, Trevor. You go there after 1 month, you get a 700,000 structure. And they say they've spent the entire money on that particular structure. And lastly, principals must learn to use the available resources.
Okay.
Whereas Kaya, very lastly, whereas Kaya is saying that they have no money, and every time a principal sees a crowd, the first statement is the schools have no money. We know of principals in this country who, out of savings, Kahi, they have come up with classrooms to address the increasing number of students.
Okay. Just pass the microphone back to mzee hapo tuambie kidogo mtoto anaendelea vipi lakini?
Okay. Mtoto anaendelea kupona. Lakini anjapona kabisa, ni ako sasa kwa wakati huu anaweza kukaa lakini hawezi simama na hawezi tembea.
Umepata usaidizi wote kutoka kwa serikali, medical bills?
Serikali mimi ilinisaidia wakati alikuwa ameadmitiwa Kenyatta, lakini kwa saa hii hakuna. Hata ningeomba wanisaidie hata na pesa ya kupelekanga hospitali, sababu ataendelea na therapy muda mrefu sana.
Okay.
Alma msamaria mwema anisaidie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for making time this evening. This has been the Monday Report Town Hall session talking about how safe are your children in schools. Indi Mulikahi, Chairperson, Kenya Secondary School Heads Association, and Kennedy Achesa, lecturer and education expert as well. Thank you so much for making time, and thank all of you for speaking about this issue. I'm sure we'll have this discussion again as we wonder where the Safety Standards Manual 2008 is and whether schools should now develop their own as per the recommendations of that same Safety Standards Manual, page 65, in regards to how unique their areas are. My name is Trevor Mbija. It was a pleasure having you with us. Good night for now.